Welcome to the Naglieri Nonverbal Abilities Test 2nd Edition NNAT Administration Training for Teachers. This will be the first year our first grade students at Marshall Road will be taking this test online. The technology requirements are that the students have computers that have been configured. These have been configured in room 123, thanks to Kevin. The computer logon, I will have had them set up for you when you arrive at 12:30 for your testing. The username is 3054 NNAT and the password is NNATTraining2015. But I should have them ready for you and you don't really need to worry about that, but just wanted you to know. You have an account with Pearson. Gary had sent an email on February 11th, and Pearson should have sent an email back to you asking you to log on and to change your password. You would have logged on using your network, your username from your computer with the word password, and then been prompted to change it to a different password. If you look down in the lower right hand corner, this is a screenshot of what it would have looked like on that page. Your username, same as your computer, password would be password, you logged in and it would have prompted you to change your password. If you haven't already done this, you need to do this prior to giving your students their test, as you need this site during the test when giving it to the students. Who takes the test during this window? All students currently enrolled in first grade. The format of the test for students is expected to be online, but we do have some exceptions. If students need large print, extended time, or a computer screen that causes medical issues with the eyes, then you could have asked for from Gary for a paper pencil test. We have two that responded to Gary's email for paper pencil test. If this has changed, you need to let him know immediately so he can provide the information to you and get you the paper pencil test as needed. There is really no practice test for the NNAT, so I went ahead and created a practice session for the students in Wixie. So they do have some sample questions and they are able to practice entering in their login information. They will get login cards that will be provided to you in your mailbox the day of the test, and the students must use these cards with their student ID and their first name, and these cards will need to be destroyed after giving the test. IEPs, 504s, all of this needed to be turned into Gary prior to this training, and students with accommodations needed to be given to Gary so he could have helped you decide whether it should be online or paper pencil. Students with disabilities may test without accommodations or with standard accommodations, but certain IEP accommodations may not be available for the NNAT because that would make them invalidate. It would invalidate the results due to the type of accommodations that the students may have. Allowed accommodations for the online NNAT are visual aids, such as a magnifier or a large monitor. Verbal response or points to indicate a response is also allowed. Small group is also allowed, but we're going to go ahead and put everybody into room 123, and if we feel like a small group is totally necessary in order for this to work, then we need to let Gary know so we can bring them in at a different time. But we're really striving to get one classroom at a time on each day to go ahead and take the test, except for I do know Melissa has a small group, and possibly Lauren may have a small group of kids, and those students will need to come in either before or after the tests of the general ed kids who are going to be taking a test Monday through Thursday. Friday is also open, but I do know that you guys have a field trip. Accommodations not allowed on the NNAT are the large print, that must be done by paper pencil, and extended time, that must also be done paper pencil. And again, we only have 2 students that have that Gary is aware of that may need that particular accommodation. LEP students may be included in the NNAT administration. LEP students' participation in testing is determined by the teachers, and they can be deferred for a year, and they would be taking that in the fall if necessary. We haven't had anybody let us know that we are aware of that this would be an option for any of our LEP students. We do need to make sure that our LEP students understand the directions prior to administration. That does happen with my training. They go through, they learn how to log on, they learn how to put in their username. So that part of the test should be good for all LEP students with the directions prior to giving them the test. The test may not be given in Spanish, so since it cannot be given in Spanish, we can't give it in any other language, so we are only administering the test in English. That are needed for the online: a computer with a mouse. That would be given to each student the day of the test. If you could bring your privacy shields as questions are not shuffled, that would be helpful. Your needs your teacher laptop for starting the test and for monitoring the test. Directions for administering the test: you're going to be following the directions for the computer-based testing, which will be provided to you in your mailbox. There is a link to complete the complete testing manual provided to you on the server, and I've given that to you in this PowerPoint. Students, you'll have login cards for them. It's a secure test material, and it must be collected and shredded by Gary, or if you put it in the shred box in the office, that would work as well. But it will have their student ID, and it will also have their first name, which are the only 2 things they need to log on to the test. A do not disturb sign needs to be placed out room 123, just in case if I forget. The benefits of the NNAT. As a nonverbal abilities test, the NNAT is an unbiased test towards minorities and LEP students. It is unbiased towards hearing, language, and physically impaired students. And it can identify at-risk students with low nonverbal reasoning abilities. The purpose is to measure general ability and a predictor of scholastic achievement for students in all grades. It helps to identify students with high reasoning and problem-solving abilities. The Advanced Academic Program uses the NNAT as a part of screening and selection process for acceptance into the AAP program. There are different types of questions for on the NNAT. One is pattern completion, reasoning by analogy, serial reasoning, and spatial visualization. Pattern completion, we will see an example on slide 13. Reasoning by analogy, we'll see on slide 14. Serial reasoning, slide 15, and spatial reasoning, slide 16. We have gone through these different types of tests with the students during my training, so they are aware of the different types of possible questions that they may ask and how they should respond. Students looked at this pattern and they raised their hand and they would choose the answer they felt best fit what went into the question mark. For reasoning by analogy, again, students raised their hand or showed me on their fingers which item below they felt best fit the pattern up above. Another example is serial reasoning. Again, students show me on their fingers what answer they felt best finished the pattern. Spatial visualization. This was another example for students to show me on their fingers which image they felt best finished the pattern. The teacher role for administering the NNAT. Attending the training, which could be online or face-to-face, or this video. Watching the training videos, this links to the training videos, and that's also provided to you in your packet. Setting up testing sessions the morning of the test. We'll be going over how you're going to be doing that. Administering the test, more information to come later in this video. And actively monitoring the students during the test. The dates for the test will be at 12:30 in room 123, Monday, Gomes, Tuesday, Thomas, Wednesday, Good, and Thursday, Wissinger. If we should have students absent from any of these classes and they can join another class, we're going to try and do that. Scheduling the tests. Please allow 45 to 60 minutes total. It's recommended that 2 adults in the room get testing started. There'll be at least me with the teacher and possibly Mrs. Sukas too. She said she'd like to help. Make sure students have bathroom and water breaks before beginning the test. Because the test is 30 minutes and you cannot pause the test, it's imperative that the students be there the whole 30 minutes and not need a restroom break or a drink break. Make sure we need the time for them to log on to their computers and for the teachers to verify the test before beginning. That's the reason for the 45 to 60 minutes. 5 minutes to complete the test sample questions, and then your 30 minutes to complete the test items. There are 48 items, and the test again cannot be paused. You're going to be creating your test sessions before coming to room 123. You will be going to the Pearson site that you had changed your password with from the email that was sent to you from Gary and from Pearson. You will click on Test Delivery. Please see that image to the right. You're going to input the session name by using the teacher's first name, your last name, and the date. Please see an example in the lower right hand corner. The image down there will give you an example of what that looks like. You're going to use a drop down menu to choose your test name. We're going to be doing 2015 NNATT online assessment. You will then click on Create Session. Once the session has been created, you need to write the test session number up on the board for the students. There are no test tickets, just the session number. On other Pearson tests, students get a test ticket. They will not get a test ticket for this session. They only get a session number that they need to type in on their screens. Students have been trained in this in my sessions to learn where the numbers are and also to locate the dash. Students will see this screen for them to type in their session number, which we talked about on the previous slide. Students, once they type in the session number, will then click the next button upon you giving them those directions. The students will then have their index card labeled with their student ID and their first name. The first name is the name found in SIS. They must use that first name. They may not use a nickname. So we train the students that when they see this image that you see to the right, that they're not going to be using the left side, that they're only going to be using the right side. So direct the students to put their student ID in, put their first name in, and then upon your direction, have everybody log in. Best practice is to let kids log in as themselves. You can help log in if the students are struggling. And the login for the first name is not case sensitive. Everything can be all lowercase if needed. If a student has a problem, we are to go to the student lookup, which is in the upper right hand corner with that big yellow arrow. Enter in the student information that is given, click search, and verify the information. If it is incorrect, give the student what is in the system so they can complete the test. After testing, we need to inform Gary of the error immediately so he can talk to the testing people for Fairfax County. Student confirms that their name is on the computer screen, and when you give them the direction to, students then click Continue. Their screen will look like this down below. The next screen, the students should see their name at the top. The students check to make sure that is their name, it is correct, and they wait for their teacher's approval. The proctor session window will refresh every 30 seconds on the teacher computer, showing the students waiting for approval. The teacher clicks Approve on their screen if the student information is correct. You will have the ability to click All if all students' information is correct, or you may click individual students one at a time. At the teacher computer, students will need to be approved for testing. Teachers can approve one by one or all at once. The image below shows how this happens. Once all the students are approved, the teacher reads the test directions. You click to start test. Begin reading the script on page 21 of the directions. Please see your packet in your mailbox. I provided those 2 sheets you needed for the online testing. If you're doing paper pencil testing, please see Gary, as he will have those directions for you. Directions may not be read in Spanish. I don't have this in your packet, so you don't have to worry about reading it in Spanish. Complete direction manual again can be found on the server for the paper pencil test and for other information. Proctor session window will refresh every 30 seconds, showing student progress during the test. You can filter this by approved students. You can say click all. Students in progress, completed, or not started. For best practices, 3 review practice items will be given to the students prior to actually beginning the test. I've shown these 3 practice items to the students already, so hopefully they don't go, I saw that. I've been trying to tell them they will see them again before they take this test. Again, please allow for bathroom water breaks before testing begins. Test times out after 30 minutes. It cannot be restarted. Actively monitor the test. Circulate around the room during the test. You can also monitor on your computer screen, as I mentioned in the previous slides. Encourage the students who are slowing down. Answer only those questions about marking their answers or about moving to the next question. You can't give any other detailed answers as to which one to choose. There should be no countdown timers. You do not write start or stop times on the board. Make sure that there is adequate lighting and space between students, so we need to spread them out a little bit if possible. And Pearson does recommend that at least 1 adult per every 25 students. I will be in the room with you again, so there'll be 2 of us and possibly even Mrs. Sukas. Test security. Stored test materials are to be in a secure location if it's a paper pencil test. There's copyright restrictions on them, and also you must check that your testing materials in and out each day, so please see Gary for that. You also need to make sure that you have signed a test agreement, security agreement with Gary. If Gary doesn't have that test security agreement, then you need to get that signed from him, as he needs to turn those into the testing office after testing is complete. Reports. Reports are available in the program workshop at the conclusion of testing. The regular classroom teachers will automatically see their classroom scores, but if you wanted an ESOL teacher or Judy to see the test scores, then Gary would have to create classes with your students and Judy as a teacher or Scarlett as a teacher for them to see your students' scores. Please do not send reports home. Test memos will be posted and reports will be sent to school once the data has been what they call scrubbed and verified. Schools will receive a combined shipment of scores and reports, both online and paper pencil. We want to make it equitable that the parents who have online and parents who have paper pencil receive the test results at the same time. So please don't give out any test results that you would know prior to that time. Gary will give you the information on when those will be going out. Testing irregularities. If there happens to be any irregularities, I'm there to help you, and then we call Gary as he is our test administrator specialist, and then we may possibly even need to call the Office of Testing with Fairfax County. We hope that we don't have any issues or any technical issues, but just to let you know, we do need to keep track of them. Parents may request a one-time retest of either the NNAT or the CAGAT, but not both. Retests may occur after 6 months waiting period, just so you know, and retests are only administered in the fall window. So if the kids don't do well, they can retest in the fall, but they can only do either the NNAT or the CAGAT. They cannot do both. Parents may also request that a test be to Dr. Oliver in the Office of Student Testing. Parents must submit a request to Gary. He's the STC, Student Testing Coordinator, and then he will take those requests to Dr. Oliver. Review. In review of everything that we've talked about, students will have been trained 2 sessions. One where I showed them what the test is going to look like, and then another hands-on training. You must sign a security agreement from Gary prior to giving the test. You will need to create the test sessions seen on slides 1 and 2 in your test on your test day. Please see slide 18. I will have computers ready by 12:30 each day. Please bring the directions to read. Those will be in your packet, in your mailbox. Please bring your privacy folders. All breaks must be done before beginning the test. Allow up to 60 minutes for testing time. Review the quick reference guide that I'm giving you in your packets in your mailbox for a test proctor and for directions for administering the test. And please see Gary for paper pencil test administration, as he has the information for you. And refer to Gary's directions with regard to reporting results. These are some resources that I've talked about. The Pearson's Program Workshop gives you information about testing, directions for administering the test. There's also other resources here from the Office of Testing, Test Security Agreement Memo, what that is. Gary has that for you. That's the agreement I was talking about. And the training video is the link down below. And that's the one that you need to click on and just view some training materials. A lot of it I've already done with the kids, but it takes you step by step of how you would actually set up your class and make your class available for the students in the day of testing. It's good stuff. This is to let you know that paper pencil, if you do paper pencil, when it's returned, and if you do not get paper pencil, we do need to have the test security agreements to Gary, because he does have to turn them in to the pony, to the testing people with Fairfax County. And then Gary is responsible for recording any students that did not take the test for any reason and why, and when they're going to be taking the test in the fall. So we do need to keep track of any students for whatever reason did not take the test this spring, so they can take the test in the fall, and Gary has to report that to Fairfax County. Again, these are some other advanced academic resources. This concludes your training for administering the NNAT. Thank you.